when Detective Maria Santos received the strangest call of her 15-year career at 1:47 a.m. She thought it would be just another false alarm. An anonymous caller reporting impossible lights and sounds that don't belong on Earth at the world's richest man's Austin mansion. It had to be another crazy person seeing things that weren't there. But as Maria and her partner, Officer Jake Chen, pulled up to Elon Musk's massive iron gates, they immediately knew something was terribly wrong. The security lights flickered in strange patterns, like they were sending a coded message. Through the gates, they could see the mansion glowing with pulsing blue lights that moved like living creatures through every window. The front door stood wide open, something Musk never did, even during the day. Inside, they would discover a basement laboratory that looked like something from a science fiction movie. A machine the size of a small car hummed with otherworldly energy. Above it, defying all laws of physics, floated a sphere of pure light that cast dancing blue rays throughout the house. But the most shocking discovery wasn't the impossible technology or the mysterious lights. It was what Musk told them had come. Through his interdimensional portal, a being from another Earth, one where humanity had learned to cooperate instead of fight, where they had solved every environmental crisis, where people worked together to heal their dying planet. This entity hadn't come to conquer or study them. It had come to save them. And it needed Maria, Jake, and Musk to help deliver the most important message in human history. What happened that night would challenge everything they thought they knew about science, cooperation, and the future of humanity. It would force them to choose between safety and the chance to change the world forever. The question wasn't whether they could handle the truth. The question was whether the world was ready for it. Detective Maria Santos was dreaming about her grandmother's apple pie when the phone rang. The sound cut through her sleep like a knife. She rolled over and looked at the clock. 1:47 a.m. This better be important, she mumbled, reaching for her phone. Detective Santos. The voice on the other end belonged to Dispatch Officer Carol White. Carol had been working the night shift for 10 years. She never called unless something big was happening. What's going on, Carol? We got a weird call. Real weird. Anonymous caller says there's something wrong at Elon Musk's mansion. Maria sat up in bed. Elon Musk. The guy who makes the rockets. That's the one. Lives in that big house on the hill in Austin. The caller said they saw impossible lights and heard sounds that don't belong on Earth. Maria rubbed her eyes. In 15 years as a police detective, she had heard every kind of crazy story. People called about aliens in their backyard. They reported monsters in their basement. They swore they saw ghosts in old buildings. But a call about the richest man in the world? That was new. Did the caller give a name? No. They hung up right after giving us the address. But Maria, they sounded scared. Really scared. Not crazy scared, but like they saw something that made them shake. Maria got out of bed and started putting on her uniform. I'm on my way. Who's my partner tonight? Officer Jake Chen. He's already in the car waiting for you. Maria knew Jake. He was 25 years old and had been a cop for only 2 years. He was eager and wanted to solve every case. Sometimes his energy made Maria tired, but he was a good partner. She grabbed her keys and badge and headed out into the cool Texas night. The streets were empty except for a few late-night delivery trucks. Austin was usually busy, but at 2 a.m., even the Music City slept. Jake was waiting in the police car, tapping his fingers on the steering wheel. Can you believe this? He said as Maria got in. We're going to Elon Musk's house. Calm down, Jake. It's probably just another false alarm. But what if it's not? What if something really happened? Maria looked out the window as they drove through the quiet neighborhoods. Then we'll handle it. That's what we do. As they got closer to the mansion, Maria started to notice things. The street lights were working fine everywhere else, but the ones near Musk's property were acting strange. Some were bright, some were dim, and some were flickering on and off. You see that? Jake pointed at the lights. Yeah, probably just old wiring. But Maria didn't really believe that. She had been a cop long enough to know when something felt wrong. And right now, everything felt wrong. They pulled up to the massive iron gates that protected Musk's property. The gates were 12 feet tall and looked like they could stop a tank. But what made Maria's heart beat faster was what she saw beyond the gates. The mansion was huge, bigger than any house she had ever seen. It sat on top of a hill like a castle. But tonight, it didn't look normal. Strange blue lights were moving around inside the house. They weren't regular lights. They pulsed and danced like they were alive. "Holy cow," Jake whispered. "What are those?" Maria didn't answer. She was too busy staring at the lights. They moved, in patterns, flowing from window to window like water. Sometimes they got bright, sometimes they got dim, but they never stopped moving. The security guard came out of his small building by the gate. His name tag said Robert Martinez. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. "You the cops?" Robert asked. "Detective Santos and Officer Chun," Maria said, showing her badge. "We got a call about strange lights and sounds. Is Mr. Musk okay?" Robert shook his head. "I don't know. He went inside about an hour ago. But then these lights started. And the sounds." He stopped talking and looked at the mansion. "What kind of sounds? I can't describe them. It's like the house is humming. But not like a machine. Like it's alive." Maria felt a chill run down her back. "Has anything like this happened before?" "Never. I've worked here for 3 years. Mr. Musk does crazy stuff with his inventions, but nothing like this." Jake was already getting out of the car. "We need to go up there and check on him." "Wait," Robert said. "The front door is open." "Mr. Musk never leaves his front door open. Not even during the day." Maria looked at the mansion again. Even from here, she could see the front door standing wide open. Light poured out of it, but not normal light. The same blue light they had been seeing in the windows. "Something's definitely wrong," she said as they walked toward the mansion. Maria couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to discover something that would change everything. The blue lights seemed to watch them as they got closer. The humming sound got louder with each step, and somewhere in the back of her mind, Maria heard a voice that didn't belong to anyone on earth. Maria stopped walking and pressed her hand to her forehead. The voice in her mind was soft but clear. It wasn't speaking English, but somehow she understood it perfectly. "Don't be afraid. We mean no harm." "Did you hear that?" she asked Jake. "Hear what?" Jake looked around. "I don't hear anything except that humming sound." Maria decided not to mention the voice. Jake would think she was going crazy. Maybe she was going crazy. She had been working too many long shifts lately. They reached the front door of the mansion. It stood wide open, just like Robert had said. Cool air flowed out, carrying a smell Maria had never experienced before. It was like the smell after lightning strikes, but sweeter. "Mr. Musk?" Maria called out as they stepped inside. Her voice echoed through the huge hallway. The ceiling was so high that her flashlight beam couldn't reach the top. The blue lights filled the house like fog. They moved along the walls and across the ceiling in slow, graceful patterns. Up close, Maria could see they weren't really lights at all. They were more like liquid electricity, flowing and pulsing with their own rhythm. "This is impossible," Jake whispered. "What kind of technology is this?" "I don't know," Maria said. But the voice in her mind whispered again. "It is not technology. It is us." Maria tried to ignore the voice and focus on her job. They were here to check on Elon Musk and make sure he was safe. Everything else could wait. They walked deeper into the mansion. The living room was bigger than Maria's entire apartment. A fireplace took up most of one wall, and expensive furniture was arranged around it. But the blue lights made everything look dreamlike and strange. "Mr. Musk?" Jake called out. "Are you okay? We're police officers." Still no answer. They moved through room after room. The kitchen had marble counters that probably cost more than Maria's car. The dining room had a table that could seat 20 people. The library had thousands of books on shelves that reached to the ceiling, but every room was empty, and every room was filled with the flowing blue lights. "Where is he?" Jake asked. Maria was wondering the same thing. A man like Elon Musk didn't just disappear from his own house, and he definitely didn't leave his front door open while strange lights danced through his rooms. The humming sound was getting louder. It seemed to come from everywhere at once, like the house itself was making the noise. Maria could feel it in her bones, in her teeth, in her heart. Follow the sound, the voice. In her mind said, "Find the source." "This way," Maria said, leading Jake toward the back of the house. They found a door that led to a staircase going down. The basement. Bright white light poured up from below, so bright it hurt to look at. "Should we call for backup?" Jake asked Maria. Thought about it. What would she tell them? That they were investigating strange lights at Elon Musk's house? That she was hearing voices in her head? That the richest man in the world had disappeared into his own basement? "Not yet," she said. "Let's see what we're dealing with first." They started down the stairs. The humming sound got louder with each step. The white light got brighter. And the voice in Maria's mind got clearer. You are brave. We chose well. Chose? Well for what? Maria whispered. What? Jake asked. Nothing. Just talking to myself. By the time they reached the bottom of the stairs, the humming was so loud they could barely hear each other speak. The light was so bright that Maria had to squint to see anything. What she saw made her freeze in place. The basement had been turned into something that looked like a science laboratory from the future. Computers lined the walls, their screens showing numbers and graphs that changed every second. Thick black cables ran across the floor like snakes. Strange machines hummed and beeped in the corners, but in the center of it all was something that made Maria's heart skip a beat. It was a machine about the size of a small car, made of metal that seemed to glow with its own light. The humming sound came from deep inside it, and floating above it, impossible as it seemed, was a ball of pure energy about the size of a basketball. The ball spun slowly in the air, casting blue lights in all directions. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. What is that thing? Jake asked, his voice full of wonder. Before Maria could answer, they heard footsteps on the stairs behind them. Someone was coming down. Don't move, a familiar voice said. And whatever you do, don't touch anything. They turned around to see Elon Musk himself walking down the stairs. But he looked different than he did on TV or in pictures. His dark hair was messy and sticking up in all directions. His clothes were wrinkled like he had been working all night, and his eyes looked tired and scared. Mr. Musk, Maria said, showing her badge again. We're police officers. We got a call about strange lights and sounds. Are you all right? Musk looked at them for a long moment. Then he laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. It was the kind of laugh people make when they don't know whether to cry or scream. All right, he said. I don't think any of us are going to be all right after tonight. He walked over to one of the computers and started typing. The numbers on the screen changed faster and faster. What is this place? Maria asked. This is where I've been working on my real project, Musk said without looking up from the computer. Not the electric cars or the rockets or the social media company. This is what I've been building in secret for the past 5 years. Jake stepped closer to the floating ball of energy. What does it do? It opens doors, Musk said simply. Doors to places that shouldn't exist. Places that are impossible. And tonight, it finally worked. Maria felt her stomach drop. What kind of doors? Doors to other worlds. Other dimensions. Other realities. Musk finally looked up from the computer. And something came through. The blue lights in the room suddenly got brighter. The humming sound got louder. And the ball of energy started spinning faster. It's listening. To us, Musk said quietly. It knows we're here. And it's trying to decide what to do about it. Maria's hand moved to her gun without thinking. Is it dangerous? I don't know, Musk said. But it's not from our world. And it's learning about us very quickly. The voice in Maria's mind spoke again, clearer than before, that we are not your enemy. We are your hope. Maria stared at the floating ball of energy, her heart pounding. The voice in her head was getting stronger, more clear. It didn't sound threatening. It sounded sad. Your world is dying. We want to help. What did you say? Jake asked, looking at Maria with concern. Maria realized she had been moving her lips while the voice spoke in her mind. Nothing. I was just thinking out loud. But Elon Musk was watching her carefully. You can hear it, can't you? He said quietly. Hear what? The voice. The entity that came through the portal. It's been trying to communicate with me for the past hour, but I can only catch bits and pieces. You're hearing it clearly. Maria nodded slowly. It says it's not our enemy. It says it's our hope. Jake looked back and forth between them. What are you two talking about? I don't hear any voice. Musk walked over to the floating energy ball. This machine creates doorways between different versions of reality. I've been working on it for 5 years, using quantum physics and electromagnetic field manipulation. In English, please, Jake said. I built a machine that can open doors to other Earths. Places where history went differently, where science developed differently, where people made different choices. Maria watched the blue lights dance around the room. They seemed to respond to Musk's words, pulsing brighter when he talked about other worlds. Tonight, I finally got it working, Musk continued. I opened a door to a world that's very much like ours, but more advanced. Much more advanced. And something came through. Maria asked. Not something. Someone. a being made of pure energy. It's been exploring the house, learning about our world. The voice in Maria's mind spoke again. We have been watching your world for a long time. Through the space between realities, we have seen your struggles. It's been watching us, Maria said out loud. Through space between realities. Musk's eyes got wide. What else is it saying? Maria listened carefully. The voice was gentle, like a teacher talking to a student. Your world faces great dangers. The air becomes poison. The water becomes poison. The land becomes poison. Soon, your people will have nowhere safe to live. It's talking about pollution. Maria said, about climate change. It says our world is becoming poisonous. That's true, Jake said. I mean, everyone knows about global warming and pollution. In our world, we learn to heal these problems. We learn to work with nature instead of fighting it. We want to share this knowledge with you. It wants to help us, Maria said. It says in their world, they learned how to fix pollution and work with nature. Musk ran his hands through his messy hair. That's incredible. If they've solved climate change, if they've figured out how to clean the environment, we could save the world, Jake finished. The blue lights suddenly swirled together in the center of the room. They formed shapes in the air, like a movie. Made of light, Maria could see cities where the air was clean and clear. Forests that were green and healthy. Oceans that sparkled blue instead of brown. Look, she whispered. It's showing us their world. The light pictures changed. Now they showed machines that cleaned the air. Gardens that grew food without chemicals. Cars that didn't make smoke. People who worked together instead of fighting. This is amazing, Musk said, watching the light show. They've solved every environmental problem we have. But then the pictures changed again. This time they showed Earth as it is now. Dirty air in big cities. Plastic floating in the ocean. Animals dying because their homes were destroyed. This is why we came, the voice said in Maria's mind. Your world is beautiful, but it is sick. We want to help it get well. Why us? Maria asked out loud. Why are you telling us this? Because you are the ones who can help. The inventor who builds bridges between worlds. The protector who keeps people safe. The communicator who can speak with us. It says we're the ones who can help, Maria told the others. Musk because he builds things, me because I protect people, and Jake, why are you the communicator? Jake looked confused. I don't know. I can't even hear the voice. But as he spoke, one of the blue lights floated over to him. It touched his hand gently, like a butterfly landing on a flower. Suddenly Jake's eyes went wide. Whoa, I can feel something. It's like someone is talking directly to my brain. The light around Jake got brighter. More lights came over and swirled around him. Jake, Maria called out. Are you okay? Jake stood perfectly still for a moment. Then he smiled. I can hear it now. The voice. It's beautiful. Now we can all communicate. The voice said. All three of them heard it clearly. This is incredible, Musk said. We're talking to a being from another dimension. We do not have much time, the voice continued. The portal is not stable. It will close soon. But before we go, we want to give you a gift. What kind of gift? Maria asked. Knowledge. The knowledge to heal your world. To clean your air and water. To grow food without poisoning the land. To create energy without burning and destroying. But how can we learn all that? Jake asked. How can we understand technology from another world? We will show you. But first, you must choose. This knowledge is powerful. It could be used to help people, or it could be used to hurt them. We need to know that you will use it wisely. The three of them looked at each other. This was the biggest decision any of them would ever make. What happens if we say yes? Musk asked. Your world will begin to change. Not quickly, but slowly. People will learn new ways of living. Some will be happy about the changes. Others will be afraid. Change is always difficult. And if we say no, we will leave and never return. Your world will continue as it is. The choice is yours. Maria thought about her job as a police officer. She had seen so many problems that could be solved if people just worked together. If this knowledge could help people cooperate and take care of the planet. I think we should do it, she said. Me too, Jake agreed. If we can help save the world, how can we say no? All eyes turned to Musk. As the inventor of the portal, the final choice was his. He looked at the floating energy ball, at the blue lights dancing around the room, at the machine that had made it all possible. Yes, he said finally. Let's do it. The moment he spoke, the blue lights exploded outward, filling the entire basement with brilliant color. But instead of being scary, it felt warm and peaceful. "Then let us begin," the voice said. "Prepare yourselves. You are about to learn secrets that will change everything." The blue lights swirled around the three of them like a gentle tornado. Maria felt warm and safe. Even though her logical mind told her to be afraid, "Do not fear," the voice said. All three of them could hear it clearly now. "We will start slowly. First, you must understand who we are and where we come from." The lights formed pictures in the air again. This time, Maria could see what looked like Earth, but different. The continents were the same shape, but everything was covered in a soft blue glow. "This is our world. We call it Earth, just as you do, but we are not the same as you." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. The pictures changed to show people, but these people looked like they were made of light. They glowed with the same blue energy that filled the room. "Long ago, our people faced the same problems yours face now. Pollution, war, destruction of nature. Many of our people died." Maria watched the light pictures show cities covered in smoke and rivers filled with garbage. It looked just like some places on their Earth, but we learned that fighting each other and fighting nature only made things worse. So we changed. We stopped trying to control everything and started working together. "How did you change?" Musk asked. "That we learned that everything is connected. The air, the water, the plants, the animals, and the people. When one part gets sick, all parts get sick. When one part gets healthy, all parts get healthy." The pictures now showed the blue glowing people working together. They were cleaning the water, planting trees, and building machines that helped instead of hurt. Over many years, we learned to become one with the energy that connects all living things. That is why we look like light to you. We are still people, but we are also part of the energy of life itself. "That's incredible," Maria said. "You became energy beings?" "Not became. We remembered what we always were. All living things are made of energy. You are made of energy too. You just cannot see it yet." Jake looked down at his hands. "We're made of energy?" "Yes. Your scientists call it quantum energy. Every atom in your body is mostly empty space filled with energy patterns. We simply learned to work with that energy directly." Musk was taking notes on his phone as fast as he could. "This could change everything we know about physics and biology. But the important part is not the science," the voice continued. "The important part is what we learned about working together. When people stop fighting and start cooperating, amazing things become possible." The light pictures showed groups of the energy beings working on huge projects. They were building cities that floated in the air. They were growing forests and deserts. They were cleaning entire oceans in just a few days. "How?" Maria asked. "How can cooperation do all that?" "When people work together, they can share their energy. When energy is shared, it becomes more powerful. One person might be able to move a small stone, but 1,000 people working together can move a mountain." "Like teamwork," Jake said. "Exactly. But more than teamwork. When people truly cooperate, their minds connect. They can share ideas instantly. They can solve problems faster than any computer." The pictures changed again. Now they showed the energy beings facing a big problem. Their sun was getting sick and might explode. "We faced this crisis 50 of your years ago. Our star was dying. If we had worked alone, we could not have saved it. But by connecting all our minds and all our energy, we found a way to heal it." "You healed a dying star?" Musk asked in amazement. "Yes. And we can teach your people to heal your dying planet. But only if they learn to work together the way we did." Maria thought about all the problems she saw in her job as a police officer. People fighting instead of talking. Countries arguing instead of cooperating. Rich people and poor people not helping each other. "But people on our world don't know how to work together like that," she said. "We fight all the time. That is why we came. To show you that there is another way. To teach you the first steps toward true cooperation." "What are the first steps?" Jake asked. The lights swirled around them and formed new pictures. These showed simple things. People sharing food. People helping their neighbors. People cleaning up their communities together. Start small. Help the person next to you. Work together to solve small problems. When people see that cooperation works better than fighting, they will want to learn more. "But what about the big problems?" Musk asked. "Climate change, pollution, poverty. How do we fix those?" "With the knowledge we will give you. We will show you how to build machines that clean the air and water. How to grow food that makes the soil healthier instead of sicker, how to create energy from the sun and wind without poisoning anything. That sounds too good to be true. Maria said that IT is not magic. It is science. Science that works with nature instead of against it. Your people already have most of the pieces. They just need to put them together in the right way. The blue lights started moving faster, forming more and more pictures. Solar panels that were 10 times more powerful than anything on Earth. Machines that could turn plastic garbage into useful materials. Ways to grow food in tiny spaces that produced more than huge farms. But remember, the voice said, the technology is only part of the answer. The real answer is cooperation. If people use this technology to fight each other or to get rich while others stay poor, it will not save your world. So how do we make sure people cooperate? Jake asked. You start by cooperating with each other. The three of you must work together to share this knowledge. If you can work as a team, you can teach others to work as teams. Maria looked at Musk and Jake. A few hours ago, they were strangers. Now they were connected by the most important secret in the world. Can we do it? She asked them. I think so. Musk said, I have the resources to build new technologies. Jake has the enthusiasm to spread the word. And you have the wisdom to make sure we do it right. You understand, the voice said with what felt like a smile. You are ready for the next step. The blue lights suddenly got much brighter. The humming sound got louder. Something big was about to happen. Now we will show you how to build the first machine. A machine that can clean the air in an entire city. But you must promise to share it freely with all people, not just the rich ones. We promise, all three of them said together. Then let the learning begin. The moment the entity said those words, everything changed. The blue lights rushed toward the three of them like a waterfall of energy. But instead of feeling scared, Maria felt excited. This was what they had been waiting for. We will teach you one at a time, the voice explained. Each of you has a different role. Each of you will learn different things. The lights swirled around Jake first. They wrapped around him like a warm blanket made of stars. Jake, Maria called out. Are you okay? Jake opened his mouth to answer, but no words came out. His eyes got very wide, like he was seeing something amazing. Then he stood perfectly still, like a statue. What's happening to him? Maria asked. That he is learning, the voice said calmly. We are showing him how energy works. How to see the connections between all living things. Do not worry. He is safe. For 5 long minutes, Jake didn't move. The blue lights danced around him, sometimes bright, sometimes dim. Maria could hear a soft singing sound, like music made of light. Then suddenly, Jake blinked and took a deep breath. The lights moved away from him and swirled in the air above their heads. Jake, Maria grabbed his arm. What happened? What did you see? Jake looked at her with wonder in his eyes. I saw everything, Maria. I saw how everything is connected. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat. It's all one big system. What do you mean? Look at your hand, Jake said. Really look at it. Maria looked down at her hand. It looked normal to her. No, look deeper. Look with your heart, not just your eyes. Maria tried to do what Jake said. At first, she saw nothing different. But then, slowly, she started to see something. A very faint glow around her fingers. Like her hand was surrounded by invisible light. I can see it, she whispered. There's light around my hand. That's your energy, Jake said excitedly. Everyone has it. Every living thing has it. Plants, animals, people. We're all glowing with life energy. Musk was staring at his own hands. I can see it too. This is incredible. We're actually seeing human energy fields. Now it is your turn, the voice said to Maria. Are you ready? Maria felt nervous. What if something went wrong? What if she couldn't handle whatever Jake had experienced? But she thought about all the problems in the world, all the people who needed help. If this knowledge could save the planet, she had to be brave. I'm ready, she said. The blue lights moved toward her like gentle ocean waves. When they touched her, Maria felt a warm, tingling sensation all over her body. Then the world around her disappeared. She found herself standing in a beautiful place she had never seen before. It looked like Earth, but everything was perfect. The sky was the clearest blue she had ever seen. The grass was so green it almost hurt to look at. The air smelled like flowers and rain. This is our world, the voice said. This is what your world could become. Maria walked through gardens where every plant seemed to glow with health. She saw rivers so clean she could see the bottom even in the deepest parts. She saw cities that looked like they were built from crystals and light. But the most amazing thing was the people. They looked human, but they moved with perfect grace. They glowed with soft blue light, and when they worked together, their lights got brighter. "Watch," the voice said. Maria saw a group of the light people working on a problem. A section of forest had been damaged by a storm, but instead of using machines to fix it, they stood in a circle around the damaged area and joined hands. Their individual lights began to merge together, creating one bright glow that surrounded them all. Then something magical happened. The broken trees started to heal themselves. New leaves grew in seconds. Fallen branches lifted back into place. Dead grass became green and healthy again. "This is what cooperation can do," the voice explained. "When people truly work together, they can heal anything." "How do they do it?" Maria asked. "They share their life energy. When many people focus their energy on one goal, that goal becomes possible. Your people can learn to do this too. But how do we start? How do we teach people to work together like this?" Start with small things. When people see that cooperation works, they will want to learn more. Help one person, then help two people work together to help a third. Slowly, the cooperation will spread. Maria watched as more groups of light people worked on different projects. Some were cleaning a lake. Others were growing food in a garden. Others were building a house that seemed to grow from the ground like a plant. "The most important thing," the voice continued, "is to remember that every person has value. Rich or poor, young or old. Every person has energy that can help. When people feel valued, they want to cooperate. In my job as a police officer, I see a lot of people who feel forgotten. People who think nobody cares about them. Those are the people who need cooperation most. When they feel included, when they feel important, they will work harder than anyone to help others." The beautiful world began to fade around Maria. She found herself back in Musk's basement, with Jake and Musk looking at her with concern. "How long was I gone?" she asked. "About 10 minutes, Jake said. "You were standing there with your eyes closed, but you were smiling the whole time. I saw their world. I saw how people can work together to heal anything." Now, the voice said, "It is time for the inventor to learn." The blue lights moved toward Musk. But just as they were about to touch him, something went wrong. The lights suddenly turned red. The humming sound became a harsh buzzing. The floating energy ball above the machine started spinning very fast. "What's happening?" Musk shouted over the noise. "Danger," the voice said, and for the first time, it sounded scared. "The portal is becoming unstable. The connection between our worlds is breaking." The machine started shaking. Sparks flew from the computers around the room. The lights flickered on and off. The whole system is overloading. Musk ran to his computers and started typing as fast as he could. "If I don't shut it down, it could create a black hole." "But what about your learning?" Maria asked the voice. "What about the knowledge you were going to give us?" "There is no time," the voice said sadly. "We must go back to our world before the portal collapses. But we will leave you with one gift." "What gift?" "The knowledge of how to find each other again. When your world is ready, when people have learned to cooperate, you will be able to open the portal again. And we will return to teach you more." The red lights began to pull together, forming a ball of energy that got smaller and smaller. "Wait," Jake called out. "How will we know when we're ready?" "When the three of you can work together to solve a problem that seems impossible. When you can show others how to cooperate instead of fight. When you can prove that sharing makes everyone stronger." The energy ball got so small it was just a point of light. Then, with a soft sound like a sigh, it disappeared. The basement became quiet. The machine stopped humming. The lights went back to normal. The three of them stood there in silence, wondering if any of it had really happened. Then Maria looked at her hands and smiled. She could still see the faint glow of energy around her fingers. That it had been real. All of it. Now the real work was about to begin. The three of them stood in the quiet basement, looking at each other. The machines were silent now. The floating energy ball was gone. But Maria could still feel something different in the air, like the memory of lightning after a storm. "Did that really happen?" Jake asked, touching the spot where the blue lights had surrounded him. "I can still see the energy around your hands," Maria said. "So yes, it happened." Musk walked over to his computer and checked the readings. "The portal is completely closed. All the energy signatures are back to normal. But look at this." He pointed to the screen. The computer recorded everything. Temperature changes, electromagnetic readings, energy patterns. We have proof that something incredible happened here tonight. But who would believe us? Jake asked. If we told people that aliens came through a portal to teach us about cooperation, they'd think we were crazy. Maria looked at the spot where the energy being had appeared. Maybe we don't need to tell them about the aliens. Maybe we just need to use what we learned. What do you mean? Musk asked. The entity said the most important thing was cooperation, that we needed to prove we could work together to solve impossible problems. Maybe that's where we start. Jake nodded, and it said to start small. Help one person, then help two people work together to help a third. But we also got some pretty amazing scientific knowledge, Musk said. I remember some of what the entity showed me before the portal collapsed. Ideas about clean energy, about machines that work with nature instead of against it. Maria walked around the basement, thinking. So we have two jobs. Learn to cooperate better ourselves, and use the scientific knowledge to help the world. It won't be easy, Jake said. People don't trust each other these days. Everyone thinks everyone else is trying to trick them. Then we have to show them that cooperation works, Maria said. We have to be living proof that working together makes everyone stronger. Musk was typing notes on his computer. I have resources, money, factories, research labs. I can start building some of the technologies the entity showed us. But remember what it said, Maria warned. The technology has to be shared freely with everyone, not just rich people. I remember, and I agree. What good is saving the world if we only save part of it? Jake looked excited. I can help spread the word. I'm good at talking to people, at explaining complicated things in simple ways. And I can make sure we do this the right way, Maria said. In my job, I've learned how to help people work together. Instead of fighting, they spent the next hour planning. Musk would start with small inventions that people could see and touch. Simple machines that cleaned water or generated clean electricity. He would give the designs away for free on the internet. Jake would create videos explaining how the inventions worked and why cooperation was important. He would show people that when they worked together, they could build amazing things. Maria would work with community groups, teaching people how to solve problems together. She would use her police training to help people trust each other and communicate better. We should meet once a week to share what we've learned, Musk suggested. If we're going to prove that cooperation works, we need to cooperate with each other first. Agreed, Maria said. But we need to be careful. If this works, if people start paying attention to us, there will be those who try to stop us. Why would anyone want to stop us from helping people? Jake asked. Because change scares some people, Maria explained. And because some people make money from the problems we're trying to solve. If we succeed, they might lose power or money. Then, we'll have to be smarter than them, Musk said. We'll have to show people that our way is better. As they prepared to leave the basement, Maria noticed something. On the floor where the energy being had first appeared, there was a faint mark. It looked like a circle with lines coming out of it, like a simple drawing of the sun. Look at this, she called the others over. It's some kind of symbol, Jake said. The entity left us a message. Musk took a picture of the symbol with his phone. I'll research this. Maybe it means something important. Maria stared at the symbol. It felt familiar somehow, like she had seen it before in a dream. I think it's a reminder. A reminder of what we're working toward. What do you mean? The sun gives light and energy to everything on Earth. Plants, animals, people. We all depend on it. Maybe this symbol means we need to be like the sun for each other. We need to share our energy and help each other grow. That's beautiful, Jake said. And it makes sense. When people share their energy, everyone gets stronger. As they walked upstairs and out of the mansion, Maria felt different than she had a few hours ago. When she first got the call about strange lights, she thought it would be just another weird case to investigate. Now she knew it was the beginning of the most important job of her life. The security guard, Robert, was still at the gate. He looked relieved to see them coming out safely. Everything okay? He asked. The lights stopped about an hour ago, but I was worried. Everything's fine, Maria told him. Mr. Musk was just working on a new invention. You know how inventors are. Robert smiled. Always building something crazy. That's why I like working. For him, life is never boring. As they walked to their cars, Musk turned to Maria and Jake. Are you both sure about this? Once we start, there's no going back. Our lives are going to change completely. Maria thought about the vision she had seen of the entity's world. The clean air, the healthy forests, the people working together. In perfect harmony. I'm sure. How can we not try to create something like that? I'm in too, Jake said. This is our chance to actually make the world better instead of just complaining about how bad it is. They shook hands under the starry Texas sky. 3 strangers who had become a team in the space of a few hours. 3 people with a secret that could change everything. Same time next week? Musk asked. Same time next week. Maria and Jake agreed. As Maria drove home through the quiet streets of Austin, she looked at her hands on the steering wheel. She could still see the faint glow of energy around her fingers. The entity had been right. They were all made of energy. They were all connected. And if 3 strangers could learn to work together in one night, maybe there was hope for the whole world. But first, they had to prove themselves worthy of the entity's return. They had to show that humans could cooperate instead of compete. They had to solve problems that seemed impossible. The real work was just beginning. But for the first time in years, Maria felt hopeful about the future. Change was coming. And she was going to help make it happen. 3 months had passed since that night at Elon Musk's mansion. Maria looked at herself in the bathroom mirror as she got ready for work. She looked the same on the outside, but everything inside had changed. Her phone buzzed with a text from Jake. New video got 2 million views. People are starting to build the water cleaners. Maria smiled. Jake had been making videos about cooperation and simple inventions that anyone could build. He showed families how to work together to create small machines that cleaned dirty water and generated clean electricity. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was Musk. The free solar panel designs have been downloaded 50,000 times in 30 countries. It's working. It was working. But not everyone was happy about it. Maria drove to the police station thinking about the problems they were facing. Some people loved what they were doing. Communities were coming together to build clean energy systems. Neighbors who had never talked before were working on projects together, but other people were angry. Big companies that made money from pollution were losing business. Politicians who got rich from keeping people divided were losing power. Last week, someone had hacked Jake's website and deleted all his videos. 2 days ago, protesters had gathered outside one of Musk's factories with signs saying, "Stop the free energy scam." When Maria got to work, her boss, Captain Rodriguez, called her into his office. "Sit down, Maria," he said. He looked serious. "What's wrong, Captain?" "I got some calls yesterday. Important calls. People are asking questions about you." Maria felt her stomach drop. "What kind of questions?" "About that night 3 months ago when you responded to the call at Elon Musk's house. About your report that said nothing unusual happened." "Nothing unusual did happen," Maria said carefully. "We investigated strange lights and sounds. Everything was normal when we left." Captain Rodriguez looked at her for a long moment. "Maria, you've been one of my best detectives for 15 years. I trust you. But something has changed about you since that night." "What do you mean?" "You're different. Happier. More hopeful. And you've started some kind of community program teaching people how to work together instead of fighting. Is that against the rules?" "No. In fact, crime in your district has dropped by 40% since you started the program." "That's amazing." Maria felt relieved. "Then what's the problem?" "The problem is that some very powerful people don't like what you, Musk, and that young man Jake are doing. They think you're causing trouble. We're helping people work together to solve problems." "How is that trouble?" Captain Rodriguez sighed. "Because when people work together, they don't need as many politicians to solve their problems for them. When people can generate their own clean energy, they don't need to buy as much from big companies. So we're being successful. Too successful. And that scares some folks." Maria thought about the entity's warning. It had said that some people would be afraid of change. Some would fight against cooperation. "What do the powerful people want?" she asked. "They want you to stop. They want Musk to stop giving away his inventions for free. They want Jake to stop making his videos. And if we don't stop, they'll find ways to make your lives difficult. They might take away your job. They might sue Musk's companies. They might shut down Jake's website permanently." Maria felt angry. These people didn't care about helping the world. They only cared about keeping their power and money. "Captain, can I ask you something?" "Sure. Do you think what we're doing is wrong?" Captain Rodriguez was quiet for a moment. "Honestly, no. I think what you're doing is the most right thing I've seen in my 30 years as a cop. But that doesn't mean it's safe. So what should I do?" That's your choice, Maria. You can stop what you're doing and go back to being a regular detective. You'll be safe and your job will be secure. Or you can keep going and face whatever comes next. But you need to know that it won't be easy. Maria thought about the vision she had seen in the entity's world. People working together in perfect harmony. Clean air and water. No fighting, no poverty, no one left behind. I have to keep going, she said. I can't pretend I didn't see what I saw. I can't pretend I don't know what's possible. Captain Rodriguez nodded. I thought you'd say that. And for what it's worth, I support you. Just be careful. That evening, Maria met with Musk and Jake at their usual spot, a small coffee shop in downtown Austin. She told them about her conversation with the captain. Same thing is happening to me, Musk said. Government officials are asking questions about my free energy patents. Some of my investors are threatening to pull out. And someone tried to get my YouTube channel banned, Jake added. They said I was spreading dangerous misinformation about cooperation. They sat in silence for a moment, thinking about their situation. So what do we do? Jake asked. We have a choice, Maria said. We can give up and go back to our normal lives. Or we can keep going and face whatever they throw at us. If we give up, nothing changes, Musk said. The world stays the same. People keep fighting. The environment keeps getting worse. But if we keep going, we risk losing everything, Jake pointed out. Not everything, Maria said. We might lose our jobs or our money, but we won't lose what really matters. What really matters? Jake asked. Each other. The knowledge we gained. The hope we can give to people. Musk leaned forward. The entity told us that we needed to prove we could cooperate to solve impossible problems. Well, this is an impossible problem. How do we keep helping people when powerful forces want to stop us? By working together, Maria said. By being smarter than they are. By showing people that cooperation is stronger than fear. How? Maria thought about the symbol the entity had left on the basement floor, the sun with rays coming out in all directions. We become like the sun, she said. We don't try to hide from the darkness. We shine so bright that the darkness has to go away. What does that mean in practical terms? Jake asked. It means we stop being careful. It means we tell the truth about what happened that night. It means we trust people to understand. Musk's eyes got wide. You want to tell people about the entity? About the portal? Why not? We have proof. We have the computer recordings. We have the knowledge they gave us. And most importantly, we have results. People can see that our ideas work. But people will think we're crazy, Jake said. Some will, Maria agreed. But others will listen. And the ones who listen will help us spread the message. They talked for 2 more hours, weighing the risks and benefits. Finally, they made their decision. They would tell the world the truth. All of it. The portal, the entity, the knowledge they had gained, and the promise of the entity's return. It was the biggest risk any of them had ever taken. But it was also their best chance to create the change the world needed. When do we do it? Jake asked. Next week, Musk said. I'll call a press conference. We'll tell the whole story together. Together, Maria agreed. Just like the entity taught us. As they left the coffee shop, Maria felt nervous but excited. In 1 week, their secret would be out. Everything would change, but change was what they wanted. Change was what the world needed, and they were ready to make it happen. The press conference was set for Tuesday at 2 p.m. By Monday night, Maria couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about what would happen when they told the world their secret. Her phone rang at midnight. It was Jake. I can't sleep either, he said. Are we doing the right thing? I think so, but I'm scared too. What if people don't believe us? What if they think we're crazy? Maria looked out her window at the stars. Then at least we tried. The entity said we had to prove we could work together to solve impossible problems. This is our test. I just wish we had more proof. Something people could see and touch. That's when Maria had an idea. Maybe we do. What do you mean? Meet me at Musk's house in an hour. I want to try something. An hour later, the 3 of them stood in Musk's basement. The room looked normal now. No floating energy balls, no blue lights, no humming sounds. Just computers and machines. What's your idea? Musk asked. The entity said it would return when we proved we could cooperate. What if our decision to tell the truth together is proof enough? You think it might come back? Jake asked. Only one way to find out. Maria walked to the spot where the symbol had appeared on the floor. It was still there, faint but visible. She knelt down and placed her hand on it. "Entity," she said out loud, feeling a little silly. "We need your help. Tomorrow we're going to tell people the truth about you, but they'll need proof." Nothing happened. "Maybe we need to work together," Jake suggested. "Like it taught us." The three of them knelt around the symbol and joined hands. They closed their eyes and thought about cooperation, about helping people, about saving the world. Still nothing. "Wait," Musk said. "Remember what it said. We have to solve an impossible problem through cooperation. Our impossible problem isn't the press conference. It's getting people to believe in cooperation itself." "You're right," Maria said. "People have been fighting and competing for so long. They've forgotten how to work together. So how do we remind them?" Jake asked Maria. Thought about her job as a police officer. "We show them. We don't just tell them about cooperation. We demonstrate it right there at the press conference." "How?" "We bring people together. People who normally don't get along. Rich and poor, young and old, different races, different political beliefs. We show them working together on something." "But what would they work on?" Musk asked. "Building something. One of your clean energy devices. Something simple that everyone can help with." Jake got excited. "And I can film it. I can show people that when they work together, they can create amazing things." "That's brilliant," Musk said. "Instead of just talking about cooperation, we'll make it happen right in front of everyone." As soon as he said those words, the room began to change. A soft humming sound filled the air. The computer started showing strange readings. And slowly, gently, blue lights began to appear. "You understand?" a familiar voice said in their minds. "You have learned the most important lesson. You came back." Jake said with joy that we never really left. "We have been watching, waiting for you to discover the truth." "What truth?" Maria asked. "That cooperation is not something you talk about. It is something you do. Tomorrow, you will show people how to work together instead of just telling them. That is true teaching." The blue lights swirled around them, but softer than before. Gentler, like a warm hug from an old friend that we are proud of you. You have faced opposition and stayed together. You have chosen truth over safety. You have learned to solve problems as a team. So we passed the test. Musk asked, "You passed the first test. Tomorrow you will face the real test. Can you help others learn what you have learned?" "We want to try," Maria said. "But we'll need help." "You will have help, not from us, but from each other. And from all the people whose hearts are ready for change." The lights began to form pictures in the air. Maria could see the press conference tomorrow. She saw people arriving angry and suspicious. But then she saw them working together, building something with their own hands. She saw their faces change from suspicion to wonder to joy. "This is what will happen if you stay strong and work together," the voice explained. "People will remember what they have forgotten. They will remember that cooperation feels better than fighting." "But what about the people who oppose us? The ones who want to stop us?" Jake asked. "Some will never change, but others will see that your way is better." When people feel the joy of true cooperation, they do not want to go back to fighting. The pictures changed to show the weeks and months after the press conference. Maria saw communities all over the world building clean energy systems together. She saw neighbors who had never spoken before working side by side. She saw countries sharing technology instead of fighting over it. "Your world will not change overnight," the voice warned. "There will still be problems. There will still be people who choose conflict over cooperation. But slowly, more and more people will choose to work together. And you'll help us." Maria asked that we will watch. "We will guide. But the real work must be done by you. Your people must learn to trust each other, not us." The blue lights began to fade, but not disappear completely. They settled into the corners of the room like gentle night lights. "Tomorrow, speak from your hearts. Show people what you have learned. Trust that those who are ready will understand." "What if we fail?" Jake asked. "You cannot fail as long as you work together. Even if tomorrow does not go as planned, you have already succeeded. You have proved that cooperation is possible." "Will we see you again?" Musk asked. "When your world is ready for the next lesson, we will return. But for now, you have everything you need to." As the entity's presence faded, Maria felt different. Not scared anymore, but excited. Tomorrow would be the biggest day of their lives, but they wouldn't face it alone. "Are you ready?" she asked the others. "Ready," Jake said. "Ready." Musk agreed. They spent the rest of the night planning exactly how the press conference would work. They would bring materials for building a simple water purification system. They would invite people from the audience to help build it. They would show, not just tell, how cooperation could solve problems. By morning, they had every detail worked out. They had practiced their presentation. They had prepared for difficult questions. Most importantly, they had remembered what the entity taught them. The real power wasn't in the technology or the knowledge. The real power was in people working together. As the sun came up over Austin, Texas, Maria felt ready to change the world. The blue lights in the basement pulsed gently, like a heartbeat, like a promise that they would never truly be alone. Today was the day everything would change, and they were ready. The press conference room was packed. Maria had never seen so many reporters, cameras, and curious people in one place. Some looked excited. Others looked suspicious. A few looked angry. Elon Musk walked to the microphone at exactly 2 p.m. Maria and Jake stood beside him, both nervous but determined. "Thank you all for coming," Musk began. 3 months ago, something incredible happened. Something that will change how we think about science, cooperation, and the future of our world. A reporter in the front row rolled her eyes. "Here we go," she muttered. Musk continued. "I know what I'm about to tell you sounds impossible, but I have proof. And more importantly, I have results." He told them about the portal machine, about the entity from another dimension, about the knowledge they had received. As he spoke, Maria watched the faces in the crowd. Some people looked fascinated. Others looked confused. A few were already shaking their heads. "That's the craziest story I've ever heard," called out a man in the back. "You expect us to believe in aliens?" "Not aliens," Jake said, stepping forward. "Beings from another version of Earth. A version where people learn to work together instead of fighting." "Prove it," demanded a woman with a TV camera. That's when Maria stepped up to the microphone. "We will, but not the way you think." She gestured to the back of the room, where they had set up tables with materials, pipes, filters, solar panels, and simple electronic parts. "We're going to build something together. Right here, right now. A water purification system that can clean dirty water using only sunlight." "So what?" asked a reporter. "Anyone can build a machine." "Yes," Maria said with a smile. "Anyone can. But we're going to build it by working together. People who disagree with each other. People who normally never talk to each other." She pointed to different sections of the crowd. Reporters and politicians. Rich people and poor people. Young people and old people. People with different skin colors and different beliefs. "Why would we do that?" asked the man who had called the story crazy. "Because," Jake said, "when people work together, amazing things happen. Things that seem impossible become possible." "This is ridiculous," said a woman in an expensive suit. She started to leave. "Wait," Maria called out. "What if I told you that this water purifier could be built for less than $50? And that the plans would be given away free to anyone who wants them?" The woman stopped walking. "What if I told you that communities all over the world are already building these devices together? And that when they work on them as teams, they don't just clean their water, they clean up their relationships with each other too?" More people stopped trying to leave. "That's still not proof of aliens," said a teenage reporter. "You're right," Musk said. "The proof isn't in the story we tell. The proof is in what happens when we follow what we learned." He walked over to the materials table. "So let's find out. Who wants to help build something that could help people all over the world?" At first, only a few people came forward. A young woman with bright purple hair. An elderly man with a walking cane. A middle-aged businessman who looked curious. But as they started working, something magical began to happen. The businessman and the purple-haired woman disagreed about how to connect the pipes. Instead of arguing, they asked the elderly man what he thought. He had worked in construction for 40 years and knew about joining things together. "Try it this way," he suggested gently. "And if that doesn't work, we'll try her way." His method worked perfectly. The purple-haired woman smiled and thanked him. The businessman nodded with respect. More people drifted over to help. A reporter found herself working next to a politician she had criticized in print. A wealthy tech executive worked alongside a janitor from the building. As they built the machine together, they started talking to each other, not arguing or debating, but actually listening and sharing ideas. "Hand me that wrench," said the politician to the reporter. "Here you go. You know, you're not as bad at this as I expected," the reporter replied with a grin. "Thanks. I think Hey, you're pretty good with your hands for someone who just writes stories. They were both laughing now. Jake was filming everything on his phone. He could see the change happening in real time. People who had arrived angry or suspicious were becoming relaxed and friendly. The water purifier took shape quickly. When people worked together instead of competing, the job became easier and more fun. "Connect the solar panel now," called out the elderly man. "I've got it," said the purple-haired woman. "Wait, let me help," offered the businessman. Together, they attached the final piece. The machine hummed to life. Clear water began flowing out of the spout. The crowd erupted in cheers and applause. People who had been strangers an hour ago were high-fiving and hugging each other. "That was amazing," said the reporter who had been skeptical. "I haven't had that much fun in years." "Same here," agreed the politician. "When did building things together become so enjoyable?" Maria walked back to the microphone. "This is what we learned from the entity. That working together doesn't just help us solve problems. It makes us happier. It makes us feel connected to each other." "But what about the entity itself?" asked a young journalist. "Where's your proof that it actually existed?" Musk smiled. "Show them, Jake." Jake connected his phone to the large screen at the front of the room. Video footage began playing. Security camera recordings from that night 3 months ago. The crowd gasped as they watched blue lights moving through Musk's mansion. They saw the floating energy ball. They heard the mysterious humming sounds. "This footage has been examined by 3 independent experts," Musk said. "They all confirm it hasn't been faked or altered." "Even if that's real," said a skeptical scientist, "how do we know it was intelligent? How do we know it wasn't just some kind of energy phenomenon?" Maria had an idea. She walked over to the spot where they had built the water purifier. The group of people who had worked on it were still standing together, still talking and laughing. "Ask them," she said, pointing to the group. "Ask us what?" said the purple-haired woman. "Ask them how they feel right now compared to how they felt when they first arrived." The businessman thought for a moment. "I feel different, happier, like I remember something I had forgotten." "What did you remember?" Maria asked gently. "That people are basically good, that we can work together if we just try, that building something with others feels better than building it alone." One by one, the others in the group nodded agreement. "That's what the entity taught us," Jake explained to the crowd. "Not just technology, but wisdom. The wisdom to remember that cooperation feels better than competition." A woman in the back raised her hand. "So what happens now? If we believe you, what are we supposed to do?" "Start small," Maria said. "Find one person you disagree with and work on something together. Build something, clean something, fix something. See how it feels, and share what you learn," Musk added. "The water purifier plans are already online for free. But more importantly, share the experience of working together." "What about the entity?" asked a curious teenager. "Will it come back?" Maria, Jake, and Musk looked at each other. They had decided to be completely honest. It said it would return. "When our world is ready for the next lesson," Maria said. "When enough people have learned to cooperate instead of fight." "How will we know when that happens?" the teenager asked. Jake smiled. "I think we'll know. When communities all over the world are working together. When countries share technology instead of hoarding it. When people help each other instead of trying to beat each other." The press conference ended with people exchanging contact information. The group that had built the water purifier was planning to meet again next week to build more devices for local communities as the crowd filed out. Many people were still talking excitedly to new friends they had made. "Do you think it worked?" Jake asked Maria and Musk. Maria watched a reporter interviewing the elderly construction worker. The businessman was exchanging phone numbers with the purple-haired woman. The politician was discussing community projects with several audience members. "Look around," she said. "What do you think?" The change had already begun 0.6 months after the press conference. Maria could hardly believe what was happening around the world. She sat in her office at the police station, reading news reports on her computer. Community groups build clean energy together in Detroit. Former enemies work side by side in peace project. Children teach adults how to cooperate in schools across America. The changes were happening faster than anyone had expected. Jake's videos now had over 100 million views. But more importantly, people were making their own videos. Neighbors showing how they built water purifiers together. Families demonstrating new ways to grow food. Communities celebrating their first clean energy projects. Musk's free technology plans have been downloaded in every country on Earth. Engineers and regular people were working together to build bigger and better versions of the original designs. But the real change wasn't in the technology. It was in how people treated each other. Maria's phone rang. It was Jake, calling from California, where he was visiting communities that had started cooperation projects. "Maria, you have to see this," he said excitedly. "I'm in a town that was divided by an ugly election fight 2 years ago. People weren't speaking to each other. Neighbors had become enemies. What's happening now? They're building a community solar garden together. Republicans and Democrats working side by side. They're laughing and joking like old friends. That's amazing. The best part is, they said they started watching our press conference video to make fun of us. But then they decided to try building something together just to prove cooperation doesn't work. And it worked so well they kept doing it. Now they meet every Saturday to work on community projects. They've built a playground, cleaned up the local river, and started a food garden that feeds 20 families." Maria smiled. This was happening everywhere. People were discovering that working together felt better than fighting. Her computer chimed with an email from Musk. "Look at the news from Brazil." She clicked on the link he sent. The story showed 2 cities that had been fighting over water rights for decades. The conflict had led to violence and years of court battles. But last month, engineers from both cities had started working together to build a water purification system using Musk's free designs. Now they were sharing clean water and planning other joint projects. "People are remembering how to trust each other," the Brazilian mayor said in the interview. "When you work side by side with someone to solve a problem, it's hard to stay angry with them." The changes weren't just happening in small communities. Large companies were starting to work together instead of competing. Countries were sharing technology instead of keeping it secret. Even Maria's own work had changed. Crime in her district had dropped to the lowest levels in 50 years. When people felt connected to their neighbors, they were less likely to hurt each other. She had started a new program where former criminals worked with police officers on community projects. Instead of just arresting people who broke the law, they were helping them learn to cooperate and contribute. "It's like the whole world is waking up," her partner Jake Chun said. Not the same Jake as their teammate. This was Officer Jake Chun, who had been with her that first night. "Waking up from what?" Maria asked. "From forgetting that we're all on the same team. We're all humans trying to live on the same planet. It took aliens from another dimension to remind us of that." Maria laughed. "Energy beings, not aliens. Whatever they were, I'm glad they showed up." That evening, Maria met with Musk and Jake, her teammate Jake, for their weekly meeting. They now met at a community center that had been built by volunteers from 12 different neighborhoods working together. "I got some interesting calls today," Musk said. "Scientists from around the world want to form a cooperation research group. They want to study how working together affects the human brain." "What did they find?" Jake asked. "Preliminary studies show that when people cooperate, their brains release chemicals that make them happier and healthier. It's like we're biologically designed to work together." "That makes sense," Maria said. "The entity told us that everything is connected. Maybe cooperation isn't just better for solving problems. Maybe it's better for our health too." "Speaking of the entity," Jake said, "I've been getting messages from people who say they can sense its presence. Not like it's talking to them, but like it's watching and approving." Maria had felt it too. Sometimes when she was working on community projects, she would catch a glimpse of blue light out of the corner of her eye, or she would hear a soft humming sound that reminded her of that night in the basement. "Do you think it will come back?" Musk asked. "I think it never really left," Maria said. "I think it's been here all along, waiting for us to remember what we already knew deep down, which is that cooperation is our natural state. Fighting and competing is what we learned to do, but working together is what we were born to do." As they talked, Maria noticed something beautiful happening outside the community center windows. A group of children from different families were building something together in the playground. They were sharing tools, listening to each other's ideas, and celebrating each success as a team. "Look at that," she said, pointing outside. The 3 of them watched as the children worked together to build an elaborate structure from blocks and sticks. No one was in charge, but everyone was contributing. When one child had an idea, the others listened. When someone made a mistake, The others helped fix it. They don't even realize they're doing anything special, Jake observed. For them, cooperation is just natural. Maybe that's the real lesson, Musk said. We don't need to learn how to cooperate. We just need to stop learning how to compete. As the meeting ended, Maria felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The world was changing, one community at a time, one project at a time, one relationship at a time. The entity had kept its promise. It had given them the knowledge and wisdom to heal their world. But more importantly, it had reminded them of something they had always known but had forgotten. People were stronger together than apart. Walking to her car under the starry Texas sky, Maria felt the same sense of hope she had experienced that first night 6 months ago. But now it wasn't just hope for the future. It was confidence that the future would be better. The change that had started with 3 strangers working together in a basement was now spreading across the entire planet. And somewhere in the space between dimensions, Maria knew that gentle blue lights were watching with approval as humanity remembered how to cooperate, how to trust, and how to build a better world together. The entity's mission was complete. The real work, the work of caring for each other and the planet, was just beginning. But for the first time in years, Maria was sure that humanity was ready for the challenge. The world was healing. And it was beautiful to watch. We'd love to know where you're listening from. Drop a comment below and tell us your city or country. It's amazing to connect with viewers from all around the world who believe in the power of working together. If this story inspired you or made you think about cooperation in a new way, please give this video a thumbs up. Your likes help us know that these meaningful stories are reaching the right people. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads. We're constantly creating more inspiring stories that explore themes of hope, kindness, and human potential. Most importantly, please share this video with your friends and family. In a world that often focuses on division, stories like this remind us of our shared humanity and the incredible things we can accomplish when we work together. By sharing this story, you're helping spread kindness and awareness, just like Maria, Jake, and Musk did in their world. Until next time, remember, we're all stronger together than we are apart. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next story.